Hello, my name is Shulamit, and I'm the creator of the MediSounds process. Every Sunday at noon, I host a Zoom meeting for us to explore wisdom teachings and experience the healing power of MediSounds. These meetings are made possible by generous donors. Please help this site thrive by liking and subscribing, and please join our newsletter at greatoctave.com to receive notices of our events. Welcome and good afternoon. There's a lot of news in books, the newspapers, on YouTube, which discuss the AI, the artificial intelligence revolution that has already begun and has begun to affect our daily lives. Most notably when we deal with vendors and physicians and so forth, with answering services, customer service. But it's becoming more and more extensive, beginning to have impacts, for example, in schools, because children can write their essays using ChatGPT and do research for kids. It's very different from when I was a youngster. But there are alarms being sounded, and not from non-mainstream sources, not from outliers, not from people who you think may or may not know what's going on, but from the people within the industry themselves. Very, very prominent people are discussing the impact of AI. And there are many, many impacts, and some of them are positive, but there are others that are really scary. And one of them is the disappearance of many jobs. Right now, entry-level jobs are being affected because AI can do them cheaper and effectively and not ever get tired or call in sick. But as time goes on, more and more jobs will disappear. And they're talking about 2027, which is very near, for the impact to be quite visible. And this will be devastating to the people affected. And fundamentally, what they're saying is almost everybody will be affected by the time it's all done. Certainly in the next 5 years, there'll be vast changes. So, loss of income, obviously, is the first thing that comes to mind, how you pay your mortgage and take care of your family and so on. But then a deeper question comes up, which is about meaning. Now, many of you have, in the course of your life, had reverses of fortune which changed the direction of your life. Either the loss of somebody that you loved or, losing a job or position that you put a lot of effort into, losing a relationship because, things didn't work out in your marriage or your spouse left you or whatever. These are shocking events, and they put people into a tailspin, and the tailspin can last for a very long time, but mostly it's probably 2 years or so before you find your footing again, find another position, change direction, and so on. But this is different because a lot of people are going to be affected, and there isn't necessarily going to be a new place to go, a retraining, a new direction. Ultimately, it may happen that there's all sorts of new ways to live, a minimum wage being paid out by the government so that people can pay their rent and eat, and a whole new enterprises might spring up as they have done in the past. But in the immediate future, there will be a lot of dislocation and a lot of suffering. And this is not, again, the speculation of people who are not in the mainstream, although they're talking about it as well. This is coming directly from the people who have created AI. They themselves are terrified of what could happen with a runaway intelligence that's far superior to our own. But they're not willing to stop particularly or put guardrails on it because they're in a competition to see who finishes first. And we're not the only player, the United States. There's other countries involved, particularly China and probably Russia and so on. So what does that mean? It's one thing to keep listening to how the world is changing and oh my, and how the world is changing and how the sky is falling. And the threats are multiple. They're not just AI, they're geopolitical with polarization throughout the globe. They're nuclear, they're cyber terrorist. There's a lot of threats and they're all simultaneous. And I didn't even mention the environment. But just sticking to AI for a moment, I ask you this question, who are you? If you are stripped of your identity, if you can no longer go to a party and say, I am an employee of X or a manager of that or a skilled craftsman or a skilled tradesman, and I have this kind of house and these kind of activities and hobbies, if these things are no longer available to you, if you can no longer define yourself by roles, what's left? Who are you? Do you have any identity? What does identity even mean? Is your life now meaningless? There's a British term for people who are let go because their jobs are being done by somebody else, somebody younger, automation or whatever. Those people are called redundant. And I think that's a very apt expression. Are we all going to be redundant? Are we going to become useless? Are we not going to be able to find a way to proceed? Are we not going to be able to teach our children because we don't know what to teach our children? In that situation, there's a true desperation, which can turn to violence against the self or violence toward others. And I'm asking you to ask yourselves to really think about the question, who am I? Am I just a function of my roles? Am I just a function of the service I give to other people, employers, and so on? Do I have an essence that's tied to a greater reality? Is that something that I can feel? Is it possible for me to live without the distractions that are constantly surrounding us and the noise in the environment, which is substantial? The noise coming from our devices, from our social media accounts, from all kinds of people, from all kinds of political persuasions and religious persuasions who are trying to tell us that they alone have the goods and we should listen to them. Can we shut out that noise so that we can really listen to our interior being, to ourselves, and find out perhaps who we are? Now, every person has to answer that question for themselves. It's no use my telling you. You have to really feel it. And there are lots of people who are willing to step into the vacuum. There's an expression, nature abhors a vacuum. There are a lot of people who are willing to step into the vacuum. There are people who want something from you very often. They're not coming from pure motive. They want your money. They want your ideological commitment. They want power over you and over society. They want all those things. And when there's a vacuum, people will turn to false prophets, false gods, false leaders. And it's pretty hard to find somebody who really is after the interests of humanity. Those are typically not the people who seek power. So you have to rely on your inner voice. And in periods of danger, that is exactly what you have to rely on. Your inner voice, your intuition, and your sense that you are more important than the life that you are leading, particularly, that you are connected to a greater reality, and that reality can sustain you and bring you calm and bring you a sense of safety, even in an unsafe world, and bring you a connection, not only to the greater reality, but to your fellow beings, which is based on trust and love. Unfortunately, at this period of time in our history, we are filled with distrust. And it's not our fault necessarily. We may accept and be driven and be shaped by the voices of others who feed our distrust. And we may be responsible in that sense for following the falsehood. But everything is weird, right? I mean, you can't even watch an image anymore without of a human being, of a person speaking, and rely on the fact that it's them that's talking. Apparently Oprah Winfrey's voice and image have been stolen and very successfully used to advance a diet formula, which has to do with salt. I can't remember exactly what it is. But the point is that it's done so well by AI that the voice is duplicated and the image and the mouth movements coordinate with the voice, and you can't tell whether it's the truth or not. So right now you might fall for it, but you'll gradually get more and more sophisticated, just like we are. We've gotten more sophisticated about advertising, and you won't fall for it as much anymore. But where does that leave you if you can't rely on what you can see or hear? Externally, I mean. And it seems to me that this is the time to rely on your heart, on your heart's knowledge, on your heart's wisdom, on your heart's love, and the ability to trust. I'm not saying that you shouldn't keep your eyes open. You should keep your eyes open and be aware that not all people are honest, not all situations are honest, and everything that you see and hear is not necessarily true. You can keep your eyes open, but you must trust. You can't run a society. You can't rebuild a society based on distrust and the false belief that the people on the opposing side, the people with a different opinion, are evil. There are some people, of course, who are using their ideologies to evil ends, but there are many who are just good people who believe in a certain point of view. We used to be able to talk, and now it's important that we talk again. So I just want to emphasize that the time that we're coming to, we have known that we are in a period of change for a while. We have known that. And we see it manifested in our politics. But we're in for a really dramatic change with AI, and that's assuming nothing else happens, right? And you're going to have to really examine who it is you are so that you can hold on to your center and move forward in life with commitment and love, despite all of the falsehoods and misleading facts are surrounding you. To go forward with faith and with heart, and you'll be able to help yourself and your families and your friends if you do this. It's a long discipline. It's not something that occurs overnight, but every effort you make, every daily effort of noticing how you behave and what you say and what you truly believe, and really going into an investigation of yourself will pay off in the near term, but it will pay off big time over the years. So I'm just going to begin sounding now. And remember, I'm asking you to sound along with me. You can make the O sound if you like. You can make the A sound through the heart if you like, or the O sound for peace through the solar plexus, or anything else that comes to you. I dedicate this to your peace, to your calm, and to your remembrance that you are greater than you think you are. And not from the point of view of pride, because you're also not as important as you think you are. But you're greater than you think you are because you're connected in a large way to the whole unfolding of the world, the universe, your story, and the human experiment. So get comfortable, put your feet on the floor, and relax. Thank you for joining me today and being part of our community. I invite you to join us every Sunday at noon Eastern Time for the full live experience. Wishing you a wonderful week, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Visit greatoctave.com for more details about these webcasts, our newsletter, donations, and more.